How is everybody doing? Are you hydrated? Are you excited? Are you inspired? Who is inspired at this point? Who is inspired? Show me your hands. Okay. Did you take notes of all the questions that you have in store for yourselves or when you go back to see your colleagues? Right? So all this inspiration to convert it into actions? I hope so, huh? Okay. 3 more pictures, and then you'll have the coffee break. Okay? So, word for the future. Renewables in Africa. Energy infrastructure can be a solid impact thesis to unlock access to affordable and clean energy as an essential tool for development. I give you Bulelwa.
Good afternoon. My name is Bulelwa Ntshingwa. I'm from South Africa in Cape Town. Thank you for the opportunity to present in front of you. I work for a company called Infra, which is an impact investment management firm. We just launched a first debt fund within Infra Impact. And that debt fund, it focuses on refinancing loans for communities. And there's a bit of background about this. A few years back, the Times magazine said South Africa is one of the world's most unequal societies. And South Africa is one of those countries that is the biggest emitter in Africa. 80% of our electricity comes from coal. And we signed the Paris Agreement to start embracing renewables, which the regulation framework started in 2011. And because we are one of the unequal societies, we're sitting at a Gini coefficient of around 70%, which for people who knows, the closer you are to 1, the more unequal you are. So which gives a challenge for government, though they want to bring renewables, but also there's a history of coal mining that has been providing jobs for South Africans. Though people are liberated since apartheid, but in terms of economy, there's no economic liberation, which brings poverty, especially in rural areas. And with that, we needed to find something. As part of a regulation framework for government, there was a balancing act that needs to be done. One, to secure security of supply. I think you've heard in South Africa, we've got a lot of load shedding, so security of supply is important. We need to reduce our carbon emissions, but at the core of this, there's rural economic development that needs to take place, which needs to come through localization and creating jobs. And with that, as part of government being the sole buyer of electricity, they regulated that for each renewable energy project, where they will get a PPA from government, they need to have ownership by a community. But the only thing that was not addressed, who's going to fund the equity contributions for those communities? DFIs came to give the loans to communities, but at a high cost of capital. One of my partners, who's the founders of the firm, it's something that has pained us because we were on the equity structures and the debt structures that were putting together the deals. And we thought we don't want to miss the lessons that we learned from the mining industry in South Africa, where communities were left and businesses made a lot of money. So we went through the market, and KfW gave us grant funding so that we can crowd in more investors. So I come before you now saying that we've got a 20% loss piece, and we're looking for investors where we can deliver impact and also deliver financial returns. And South Africa is at a point where the energy industry is maturing. The merchant market is booming, and we have pressure to close some of the mining substations, your mining generating plants, but there's a challenge of how do we replace that. So we're bringing a solution, which is a debt fund, where we're saying let's refinance some of those so that those communities can start getting the benefit of being part of this through social projects such as health, education, and uplift those communities.
Thank you. You can't tell me you don't have a question. I mean, who has a question? Yes. Can you tell us?
Thank you so much for your presentation. Very important work that you're doing. Can you tell us about how you work with the communities? How do you involve them in the project development, or how you work with them?
Okay, just to give you a bit of a background, in South Africa, most IPPs are very well established and that are European, most of them. And when they structure this fund, they structure a community trust, which is a legal entity. And as part of that, there'll be a board of trustees that has to foresee the implementation of the social projects that have been promised to the community. Some they work, some they don't work. As part of our investment strategy is that one of the criteria, the governance structure of that community trust needs to be working. If it's not, we don't invest, irrespective of how the deal makes commercial sense.
Thank you. Another question? Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Could you describe KFW's involvement a little bit more, the structure they put forth, and then perhaps the due diligence they undertook to continue in relationship with the structure?
So can you tell us more about KFV involvement and in the structuring of the support they gave you, and what type of due diligence, if I heard correctly, what type of due diligence they put you through?
It was quite extensive, and ESG is quite important for them. We have bi-weekly meetings with them to update, since we are still on fundraising, to give them report back, and they give us support in everything. Right now, in terms of, like, we are at due diligence stage with 3 investors in the pension fund industry in South Africa. So things are moving quite nicely, and we've done our first investment using the KFW, and the impact of that was 25% uplift in the value of the equity that the community, and also a trickle dividend that is higher, that they can start having social projects. So it's quantified, the impact that we can make.
So just speak, because the first question was more specific, how does this first layer of KFV support work?
In terms of the cash waterfall, we'll pay the expenses of the fund, and then after that, return the capital of investors, and also the return. If there is money that is left, then we'll return to KFW.
Thank you, Bulelwa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.